Hi, welcome to Shooting Star Journey. My name's Kaylee and I'm diagnosed with bipolar type 2. So I'm here today to talk about how I was diagnosed with bipolar type 2 and the journey it took. I'm going to try to keep it short. Well, it started after I joined the Navy. I was on my first base and it wasn't that fun. It was very stressful and everybody was kind of down at that base because of the intense training, and so I didn't think anything of my depression. I didn't have it. I couldn't have it, obviously that's the way I felt. Then I went to my next duty station and we had a lot more freedoms, and yeah, I was still depressed, and at this point in time I started getting suicidal ideations, but I still kept denying that there was anything wrong because I was still happy and having fun and high energy and hanging out with all my friends. I just would have bad days. And then one day I found out that a friend of mine in high school passed away and she had committed suicide. And I was reading all the posts on her Facebook that stated how much everyone missed her and loved her, and I realized that I had to do something. It opened my eyes to the feelings I was having, and I didn't want to hurt any of my friends and family. So I went ahead and called a hotline to talk to someone, and I set up an appointment to talk to a family counselor that they had. And I went there the next day and I talked to this man and I told him about how I felt and what was going on, and he listened, and then he said, I think you may have hypomania. He said, I can't diagnose you, that's not the field I am in, but you sound like you may have hypomania. I went to my base doctor and I told her how I couldn't sleep, I had depression. I shared with her what this family counselor had told me, and because I was in a class that was an overnight class, I went to class at 11 p.m. at night and we got done at 7. I was having severe sleep problems. I was going 2 days into 3 days without any sleep. So she gave me some Ambien to go to sleep, which surprised me a little bit because I had told her that I had depression and everything, but I went ahead and I was taking it and it would knock me out. Completely knocked me out, and I would wake up feeling so gross and dragging, and I really didn't like it. I did end up getting that prescription refilled. I stopped taking it, however, because it took my body such a long time to wake up afterwards, and I didn't like that feeling, so I did stop taking it. I did have some slight withdrawals from it. I got really bad headaches when I stopped. There was one day when I couldn't sleep and had gone so long without sleep. I wasn't thinking straight anymore, and all I could think about was if I took enough medicine that I could just sleep, and I could sleep forever and I would finally get sleep. All I wanted to do was sleep, and obviously taking enough medication so that you'll sleep forever is not the answer, obviously. But at that point, my head was hurting so bad in the sense that I just wanted to sleep. I was so mentally fatigued that I thought about doing that. And I remember one specific time I went through my house and got every single medication there was. I mean, I had NyQuil, DayQuil, my Ambien, painkillers, just anything and everything I could find. And I contemplated taking it, and My husband was working night shifts at the same time too, so he was asleep in bed. And I remember that morning looking at him and thinking about how horrible it would be for him to wake up and find me next to him having taken all this medication. So instead I took all of that medication and flushed it down the toilet. Eventually, after this had gone on for a while, I was referred to a psychiatrist therapist. I don't think she was an actual psychologist. I believe she was just a counselor. So I went to see her, and she didn't believe I was bipolar or hypomanic. She believed that I had some events in my childhood that caused me to have anxiety and some coping issues. So I continued with that, and eventually she referred me to see a psychiatrist. Hey, no. To go see a psychiatrist and get some medication. I went there, and when you go there, you have to have an initial, since it was a new hospital, I had to have an initial interview with another psychologist, therapist there, and I talked to him and I explained everything. He looked over my notes, and he believed that I had hypomania or bipolar type 2. He sat and explained to me what all that entailed. So then I went to see my psychiatrist, and she looked over all the notes, and she decided that she would go with the opinion and the notes that were written up by my primary therapist. And so she said that she did not believe I was bipolar and that she would go ahead and just prescribe me some antidepressants. I would still pass my C screening and be able to go to my ship after my training was ended. So that's what happened. I took my antidepressants, I went to my ship that was deployed at the time, and I went on deployment, which there were aspects of it that I loved, but things continued to get worse. In spite of being on antidepressants, my depression got worse. It got worse to the point where I was sleeping a lot. There was at one point I was taking box cutters out of our tools, and I was hiding them in my rack. I did not cut myself or hurt myself, but I thought about it a lot. There were also days when I had tons of energy. I wanted to learn everything there was to learn. I couldn't sleep. I'd hang out with everybody and have fun and was lively and everything. And this continued, and this sort of thing cycled quite a bit, and it was pretty rough. I was getting a little frustrated that doctors and counselors couldn't agree on what was going on and that my antidepressants didn't work. So I went through a program called Military One Source and found a therapist in town. She said, "Kaylee, you are Kaylee, and you happen to have bipolar disorder. You are not bipolar disorder. You are not some cookie cutter copy of anybody else or what supposedly is in a book." So she referred me to a psychiatrist, and that psychiatrist took all the notes from all of my past doctors and counselors and went over that with me, had me talk to him about it, and that was the beginning of the long process of finding which medications work, and which is still something I'm working on even now. That was my diagnosis story. I hope that you all have a wonderful week, and I hope to keep these videos up on a regular basis, and I hope that everything is going well with you and that you know that there are people out there who care about you and love you. So, all right, I'll reach out, and I hope you have an awesome day. Bye.